What am I releasing? I've been doing my work as we are called to in this time and season. There's those of us that are, you're just there, you're on the brink, you're on the edge, you feel, you know that your change, your manifestations, your wish fulfillments, your dream come true moment, your rising phoenix date is coming. And yet, it's almost like there's no sign of it. At least on this, from the third dimensional perspective, from the material perspective, from the perspective of some of our bank accounts. There's no evidence. Wow. What they say, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that's where we are. Like, where is the evidence? And I am, in that moment, I'm reminded of a prayer that my beloved cousin, but auntie in the spirit, Pauline Arnold, when I last spoke with her some 20 years ago, maybe 18, 17 years ago, I remember praying, and she would pray a bold prayer at that time. And this was early on in my ascension process. And my aunt was, born again, Pentecostal, Holy Ghost filled, everything under and over the sun in the spirit. But when we prayed that day, and she prayed the prayer, led the prayer in boldness, and she was very specific, guys, in wanting the materialization, she said. We want the manifestation and the materialization of our hope. It's like, you got to really be real sharp with this sword of the word that comes out of your mouth and that resides in your heart and that is dormant in your psyche. And so, I've been on this process of ascension and ascending in mastery, attempting that on this journey. But I'm mastering what I'm sent here to master, and this thing called manifestation, magic, creation, alchemy, it's for all to have access to do. But we all have our different paths and ways of going about the same task of what we call self-actualization, to know thyself and self-actualize into your greatest version of yourself, into your Christ consciousness, your divine self. And the promise is real. If you're in the fold, you've answered the call, you're with me doing the work. This thing is real, but the evidence of its reality is not yet seen in this material world. And that is the frustrating part, because for most of us, we have spent so much more time being materially oriented, right? I use a lot of, I articulate myself in a particular way, and it's not me, it's the way I'm built. So, we've been oriented with this material world a lot longer than we have with our spiritual self. We're calling our spiritual natures, our spiritual way of being, our power, our authority, our reason for even coming this far in this journey and continuing on, our destiny. So the material indicators, wow, I just saw a beautiful yellow bird fly by. Beautiful, like I'm getting signs everywhere. And that's another video. However, the evidence, signs is evidence as well. And so the evidence that we're looking for with our natural naked eye, the eye that's oriented to this material world, right? We don't see our cars popping up. We don't see them numbers in the bank account turning blue or black, see a lot of red, see a lot of minus signs. You don't see, the materialization of that home that you have been desiring or whatever. And for those of us that I might be more specifically speaking to now, are rising phoenixes, because that's what we are, right? We're in that process. For those of us, we've had our entire lives of our old nature torn down, destroyed, and we've had to do that, right? So we don't see no evidence. What we see is the evidence of destruction of the old way. That we see clearly. Like, where's my stuff? Where did all my people go? Where they're passed away. So evidence for us is like scarce on this third dimension. But the evidence is there, the signs and synchronicities. So have it, with spirit being spirit and all things being divinely ordered, I've been up here in the mountain area, Pennsylvania, whatever, for a little over 6 months, 8 months to be exact. And I have not yet ever seen a yellow bird until today, until this moment, until taping this video. And I came wanting to discuss, just have a conversation lightheartedly about, the signs and the evidence that we are seeking, and how do we identify that spirit is really, really doing all of this and working in our lives, and that we are, yes, we are in fact on the brink of possessing the inheritance, of possessing, beginning to see the unfolding of to begin to see the unfolding of our wish fulfillment. When we start to see our bank accounts go on the increase, and when we start to see and have those instances where you get the position that you've asked for and you've been pondering in your heart and stuff. And so I've been doing this work. I'm creating a new reality as we all have opportunity who are at the brink. I'm talking about those of us that are at the brink. We've done the work, and right now you're like, oh my goodness, the frustration. Where's my stuff? It's right around the corner. I had an experience, signs and synchronicities, every day, all day. I am in touch with spirit, and they're always confirming and guiding and confirming me. It's challenging in the times that we're in, because we're not in an island of our own, and the world is going through things. The collective is suffering, and we're still in this world but not of this world, and I'm processing a lot of those emotions for the collective, and I'm still standing in the gap and saying, but my stuff, I need to be established. I need my foundation reestablished. Everything has been destroyed in the tower of life, coming out of the dark night of the soul, and I need to be reestablished in power. And that's exactly what it will be and what is. We're just on the brink. And so Spirit gave me a little something, and I'm going to just tell you about the magic cake. So this video is probably going to be entitled something like, your manifestation now comes to you like chocolate cake. And so I came to that little thingy there. I don't know what to call it, but that epiphany. It was a moment of epiphany surrounding this chocolate cake manifestation. And so when I say chocolate cake manifestation, like we all know, if we're listening to this video, we should know that we create our reality by every word that comes out of our mouth, and thought and feeling and all that stuff contributes to what is manifested, what is the outcome. And at this point, we're getting a lot of synchronicities, whether it be numbers and or words, comments, slogans, things that are just odd but yet familiar, that resonate in a different kind of way, in a metaphysical way, in a way that's not quite clear, but yet it's clear to the eye. And so I was home over the weekend, and I just blurted out that I had this urge, this craving, and I was determined that I was going to have and make a chocolate cake. And I told my baby girl, I was like, I'm going to make me a chocolate cake. And she was like, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah, like I want that really dark chocolate cake. She's like, oh. And I said, the cake that Birdie liked, that really dark devil's food cake. And so she's like, oh, yeah, that cake is really good. And as I was saying that to her, in my thought, I was thinking, yeah, but I just don't want any icing on it. I really could do without all of that extra sugar. Just give me the cake, right? So I never made the cake because I was actually returning to work within about 24, 48 hours after that. Never made the cake. So I got back to work on Monday, and my client goes to a birthday celebration on Tuesday. And, just haphazardly, I said, if you have cake, bring me a piece. So, of course, long story short, she comes in the house with this plate of cake. And I was like, oh, my cake. And I was clueless as to what kind of cake it would be. I thought it, would be a birthday cake of some sort. But, of course, what was it? It was the magic chocolate cake. And, immediately, when you're plugged in, you're tuned in, things don't happen by accident, coincidence. If you're oblivious, then you wouldn't really be listening to me right now. But if you're listening, you probably know what I'm going to say. It's like immediately when I opened it, it was like Spirit said, yes, once again, he said to me. And this is very important because I say, once again, my Spirit confirmed and said to me and made clear to me that, yes, ask and it is given, Althea. The divine spirit reminded me of myself, helped me to recall my authority, recall my power, my ability, recall and recollect that I have the authority and the power, by the power that is vested in me by the divine, that what I speak and I feel and I ponder will manifest. I learned that truth emphatically, without a question, a shadow of a doubt, on October the 23rd, 2016, when I moved from New York City housing to my first brand new home, which was a manufactured home down in Delaware. And when I moved into that home, I moved into an identical home that I had been thinking about, speaking about, and pondering for a good 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, but not much longer than 6 months to a year. Had I been looking at that modeled home, not really even thinking that I was going to buy a manufactured home. But when the time and the day and the hour came for me to manifest my dream, my wish fulfilled, that if I recall correctly, that I had to grind to manifest. And I couldn't see the forest through the trees at that time, during that 6 months of getting into that house. And when I said I'm going to move on the 23rd of October, I was clueless as to where I was going to move on the 23rd of October. But it happened as such. And it was just like the magic chocolate cake. I spoke it, I felt it, and I pondered it. And it was a good feeling because it was tied into the recollection of my son and how he loved dark chocolate cake. And so, manifestation is all about, being in that frequency, that high frequency. And when the highest frequency, of course, is love, right? And when you have love, you have joy. And if you could just tap into one memory, one recollection, and tie it into your manifestation and your visualization, knowing that this is a divine law. You create what you think. You create what you conversate. You create what you feel. Guys, your manifestation is going to unfold just like magical chocolate cake. I didn't bake it. I didn't make it. I just thought of it. I asked for it. I put it out there and it came to me. And that was another thing that Spirit said, like, you didn't even have to make it. You thought you had to make your cake in order to indulge, right? I didn't even have to make it. The same thing applies to your manifestation. It's a gift from God. You don't have to work for, or be approved for this gift that's coming from the divine. Your manifestation, your gift, your wish fulfilled is coming to you like the magical chocolate cake came to me. Like my brand new home in October 23rd of 2016 came to me because I thought it, I felt it, and I pondered it. I spoke it. I wrote it down. I told them, yeah, I'm going to be leaving on the 23rd of October. I had no home on schedule. I had no apartment on schedule. I had no job on schedule. So let us remind ourselves of how this thing called faith works, right? We've been here before, guys. We just did it on the karmic journey. It's complete. Let's walk into this divine path with power. Let's celebrate for what is ahead, because we know that our divine God, power, source neither sleeps nor slumbers nor fails to follow through on what is divinely ordered. So you guys, I'm going to end it on this note, and I'm going to pray, hope, and see you well. Please like, share, and subscribe, and come back again. I love you. Namaste.